Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be looking at mental well-being. And we've got some pretty interesting sources this time around. We've got personal stories, we've got advice from experts, even some tips that I think you might find helpful. So let's dive in. We're going to be focusing on three main things. First, the power of creativity. Things like writing and art and music, how those can be therapeutic. And then second, how important community is, having people around you to support you. And third, we'll look at physical wellness, how taking care of our bodies can really impact our mental state.
It's really fascinating how those three areas all connect to well-being. And I think what makes this deep dive even more interesting is, well, it's that we're starting with personal stories. Real people sharing their experiences.
Yeah, those stories I think could be so powerful. They remind us that we're not alone in this, that other people have faced similar challenges and found ways to heal and grow. So let's start with Alex. Alex found a lot of comfort and healing through writing during a difficult time, especially poetry.
Yeah, Alex's story really stood out to me. At first they were really hesitant to share what they'd written. It was very personal, a way to process their emotions without judgment.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Sometimes I just need to get things out of my head and onto paper. It's like I can finally make sense of them.
Right, and for Alex, poetry provided that structure, a way to express those really abstract emotions.
And eventually Alex started sharing their work, first with close friends, and then with a wider circle.
And that act of sharing, well, it created these unexpected connections and
Oh,
even led to a sense of community.
it's amazing how creativity can do that. Bring people together, makes you think. Have you ever used writing or any other creative outlet to cope with something difficult or to express yourself? I think it's something we all have within us.
It really is, and sometimes we don't even realize it until we try it out.
Okay, so let's move on to another story. This time it's Sam, who used art to deal with anxiety.
Yeah, Sam's story is really visual. They talk about how words just weren't enough. Art became their language.
Like their canvas was a mirror, reflecting everything going on inside. They describe starting with these chaotic splashes of color, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed.
And then as they kept painting, patterns started to emerge. There was beauty even in that chaos.
Yeah, it's like by putting their anxiety onto that canvas, they were able to process it and gain some control over it.
Exactly.
And then just like with Alex, sharing their art opened up a whole new level of healing.
That connection with others, seeing yourself reflected in someone else's art.
Right. It's a powerful reminder that we're not alone.
Yeah.
And that even in our struggles, there can be beauty. So I think the takeaway here is that these creative therapies aren't just for artists.
Yeah.
They're for everyone. You don't have to be a master painter or a published poet. It's about engaging in the process.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you, whether that's writing or painting or dancing or anything else.
Yeah, anything that lets you express yourself. So let's get practical for a minute. What are some simple techniques that people can try at home, even if they don't consider themselves creative?
Well, with writing, you can start with simple prompts. Things like, today I feel, or what I wish I could change. Just a way to get those thoughts flowing.
I like that. What about for art or music?
Don't overthink it. Just put on some music you love and doodle. Hum along to a tune. Play with different colors and rhythms. It's not about the outcome. It's about the process.
Right, just letting go and exploring.
Exactly.
Reminding ourselves that we can all be creative.
We all have that potential. It's like we're giving ourselves permission to just be.
Yeah, to play, to experiment.
Yeah.
To reconnect with that part of us that loves to create.
And speaking of connection, let's talk about community. It's so important for our well-being.
It really is. Sometimes we think of community as this big formal thing.
Yeah.
But it can be much simpler than that. It's about finding your people, the ones who get you, who support you.
Yeah, your tribe. Whether it's through shared interests or experiences or even struggles.
Right, it could be a book club or a hiking group,
Yeah.
an online forum, a support group, any space where you feel comfortable being yourself.
And community provides more than just support. There's also that sense of belonging, of shared experiences.
And it can even lead to advocacy, raising awareness about mental health issues, fighting stigma, creating a sense of collective healing.
It's like a safety net, knowing that you're not alone in this.
Sometimes it's as simple as having dinner together or watching a movie. Just those little things that remind us we're part of something bigger.
Those moments of connection can really lift you up, remind you that there's more to life than just your struggles.
Speaking of inspiring communities, let's talk about Maya. She saw a need in her community and decided to do something about it. She started a local support group.
And what's amazing is how it all happened organically. It started with just a few neighbors gathering in her living room, sharing their stories, listening to each other.
They created this space where vulnerability was welcomed, and over time it grew into this incredible community, offering support, understanding, and belonging.
It's a great example of how one person can make a difference, how we all have the power to create positive change.
It's truly inspiring. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about the link between physical well-being and mental peace.
This is such a key connection and often overlooked. We've all heard about the benefits of exercise, but today we're going a little deeper. We're talking about practices like yoga and tai chi.
Yeah, practices that really integrate the mind, body, and spirit. Yoga, for example. It's so much more than just stretching and posing.
It's about cultivating awareness of your body, your breath, your thoughts.
Right. Creating that mind-body connection.
And one of the most important aspects of yoga is breath control, or pranayama.
Yeah, those breathing techniques can be so powerful for calming the nervous system and reducing anxiety.
Sometimes when I'm feeling stressed, just taking a few deep breaths can make a world of difference.
Me too. It's amazing how something so simple can have such a profound effect. And it's not just about the breath, the way the poses flow together. It's almost like a moving meditation.
It creates a sense of fluidity and calm.
So how about Tai Chi? It's often called meditation in motion, right?
Exactly. It involves these slow, deliberate movements that require focus and balance.
It's like a graceful dance. And Tai Chi is also associated with the concept of Qi, or life energy.
Right. Practitioners believe that by cultivating a smooth flow of Qi, they can achieve greater mental clarity and emotional stability.
So it's not just about the physical movements. There's this deeper energy work happening as well.
And while Tai Chi can be practiced solo, it's often done in groups, which adds that social element.
Where you get the best of both worlds, the solitude for introspection and the connection of practicing with others.
And of course, there are physical benefits as well.
Right, the gentle movements, the deep breathing, the focus on balance, all of that can help reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, and even alleviate pain.
It's a truly holistic practice.
So to help us experience the power of yoga firsthand, we have a special guest joining us today, Leo, an expert yoga instructor. Leo, welcome to the Deep Dive.
Welcome, Lee.
We're so excited to have you here. Leo, we'd love for you to guide our listeners through a simple yoga sequence, something that anyone can incorporate into their daily routine to promote mental peace.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. And yes, yoga is for everyone. You don't need any fancy equipment or years of experience. Even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference.
That's so great to hear. So where do we begin?
Let's start with something foundational. Mountain pose or Tadasana. It's a great pose for grounding and connecting with your body.
Mountain pose. Sounds simple enough.
It is, but it's also incredibly powerful. Stand with your feet hip-width apart, grounding them firmly into the floor. Imagine your feet are like roots anchoring you to the earth.
Okay, I'm feeling grounded.
Now lift through the crown of your head, aligning your spine. Your posture should be tall and strong like a mountain. Your hands can be at your sides or in a prayer position at your heart.
Got it. What about my breath?
Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And take deep, mindful breaths. Inhale, filling your lungs with air, and exhale, releasing any tension you might be holding.
This feels so good already, just standing here feeling grounded and present.
Exactly. Mountain pose is all about feeling present, rooted and connected to yourself.
Okay, what's next in our sequence?
Let's flow into forward fold, or Uttanasana. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, hinge at your hips to fold forward, letting your head hang heavy.
I'm feeling a nice stretch in the back of my legs.
Great. Release any tension in your neck. Let your head hang heavy. If your hands don't reach the floor, that's perfectly okay. You can bend your knees slightly or use blocks for support.
This feels amazing. What's the benefit of this pose?
Forward fold increases blood flow to the brain, which can be very soothing and rejuvenating. It's also a great way to release tension in the spine and hamstrings.
I can definitely feel that. Ready for our next movement?
Let's move to the floor for cat-cow stretch, or Marjariasana to Bitalasana.
I love the name of that one.
It is fun. Come onto your hands and knees, creating a tabletop position with your body. As you inhale, arch your back, lifting your head and tailbone towards the sky. This is cow pose. Feel that stretch in your spine, and as you exhale, round your spine, tucking your chin to your chest. This is cat pose.
It's like I'm a cat stretching. This feels so good.
This sequence massages the spine, synchronizes your breath with movement, and encourages flexibility.
I can already feel my stress melting away.
Amazing. Let's move into a restful pose next. Child's pose, or Balasana. From tabletop positions, sit back on your heels, stretch your arms forward, and lower your forehead to the mat.
This feels so comforting, like giving myself a big hug.
Exactly. Child's pose is all about introspection and surrender. It's a pose that promotes a deep sense of calm and security.
Okay, what's next in our yoga journey?
Let's stand back up for tree pose or Vlarksasana.
Tree pose. This sounds like it requires balance.
It does. Stand tall in mountain pose, and then shift your weight onto one foot. Place the sole of your other foot on the inside of your standing leg, either above or below the knee, but never directly on the knee. Bring your hands to heart center or raise them above your head.
I'm finding my balance. This is great for concentration.
Exactly. Tree pose requires focus, which helps to quiet the mind. It's a wonderful way to cultivate mental clarity and stability.
Okay, I think I'm ready to wind down a bit. What's next?
Let's go back to the floor 4, seated forward bend or Paschimottanasana. Sit with your legs extended in front of you. Inhale to lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, hinge at your hips to fold forward. Reach for your feet, shins, or thighs, wherever feels comfortable.
Oh, this feels so good on my hamstrings.
Seated forward bend is a great way to release tension in the back of the body. It also calms the mind and can help relieve stress and mild depression.
I'm definitely feeling more relaxed already.
Wonderful. And finally, let's end our sequence with Savasana or corpse pose.
Corpse pose? That sounds a bit ominous.
I know, right? But don't worry, it's the most relaxing pose of all. Lie flat on your back, arms and legs relaxed, palms facing up. Close your eyes and allow your body to fully surrender. Just melt into the floor.
This feels incredible. Like all the stress is draining away.
Savasana is the ultimate pose for relaxation and integration. It allows your body to absorb the benefits of the practice and promotes a deep sense of peace.
This has been such a rejuvenating experience, Leo. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. I feel so much calmer and more centered.
You're very welcome. Remember, even a few minutes of yoga each day can make a world of difference in your overall well-being.
Yeah, it really is amazing how these ancient practices can still be so relevant today.
I know, it makes you wonder, what other wisdom is out there, just waiting to be rediscovered?
Absolutely. And that actually brings us to the end of our deep dive into creativity, community, and physical wellness for mental well-being.
Wow, what a journey. We covered so much ground.
We did, from those personal stories to practical techniques and all those insights from the experts.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired to really start prioritizing my mental health.
Me too. It's a good reminder that we have the power to make those changes.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be big, huge changes either.
Exactly. Sometimes the smallest steps can make the biggest difference. Like writing in a journal for a few minutes, doodling while listening to music, joining a walking group, trying a couple yoga poses before bed.
Yeah, finding what works for you.
Yeah.
And making it a part of your routine.
And we can't forget about community. It's such a vital part of mental well-being.
Absolutely. Reach out to friends and family. Find a support group. Share your experiences. Listen to others. And build those connections.
And of course, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed or like you need extra support, don't hesitate to reach out to a professional.
There are so many resources available. Taking care of your mental health is so important.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question. What's one small step you can take today to prioritize your mental health?
That's a good one. Maybe it's making time for a creative outlet.
Yeah.
Or just taking a few deep breaths.
Whatever it is, every little bit counts.
It really does. And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning. There's always more to learn, more to discover on this journey.
So keep exploring these themes, and we'll be back soon with another deep dive into the intersection of AI and human experience.
Until then, take care of yourselves, stay curious, and keep those connections strong.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of mental well-being.
See you next time on The Deep Dive.